Chapter 21. The Final Stand. The night was unnaturally quiet as Ava and the wolves approached the heart of the corrupted forest. The air felt heavier with each step, thick with the scent of decay and something more insidious, a primal, almost living malevolence that seemed to watch their every move. The ground beneath their feet pulsed faintly, as though the forest itself was alive, and not in a way that welcomed them. Xander walked at Ava's side, his golden eyes scanning the shadows. Seth's absence hung heavy over the group, a silence that none of them could fill. Luca brought up the rear, his movements tense but deliberate. The rest of the pack followed in a tight formation, their faces grim but resolute. Ava clutched the tome to her chest, its glyphs faintly glowing, as if responding to the encroaching darkness. The whispers had grown quieter since the ritual, but the book's hum was a constant presence, a reminder of the power she carried, and the responsibility that came with it.
"We're close," Xander said, his voice low. "You can feel it, can't you?"
Ava nodded. "It's stronger here, the darkness, it's waiting for us."
Luca snorted. "Let it wait. We'll make sure it regrets that decision."
Despite herself, Ava smiled faintly. Luca's confidence, though sometimes misplaced, had a way of lightening even the darkest moments. But the smile faded as they stepped into a massive clearing. The source of the corruption loomed before them. A great black mass writhed at the center of the clearing, its form shifting and pulsing as though it were breathing. Tendrils of shadow stretched out from it, snaking across the ground and wrapping around the trees, their bark splintered and oozing a dark, viscous liquid. The air was colder here, each breath burning in Ava's lungs. "The heart of the darkness," Morella said, stepping up beside Ava. Her voice was steady, but her silver-streaked hair betrayed her tension. "This is where it all ends." The wolves fanned out, their movements cautious but deliberate. Xander turned to Ava, his expression resolute. "You'll have to get close," he said. "The tome's light will only reach the heart if you're right in front of it." "And what happens when it fights back?" Ava asked, her voice trembling despite her best efforts to stay calm. Xander placed a hand on her shoulder, his golden eyes steady. "We'll hold the line. You focus on the tome. Trust yourself." She nodded, her grip tightening on the book. The pack formed a protective circle around her as they advanced toward the writhing mass. The closer they got, the louder the whispers became, a cacophony of voices that scratched at the edges of Ava's mind. Then the darkness moved. A tendril lashed out, striking one of the wolves and sending them flying into a tree. The pack roared in unison, charging forward as the shadows surged to meet them. Xander's fist collided with the tendrils, his strikes glowing faintly with a golden light that seemed to push the darkness back. Luca darted through the chaos, his blade flashing as he cut through the writhing shadows. Ava pressed forward, her heart pounding as the tome's glyphs flared to life. The whispers turned into a chant, the words spilling from her lips unbidden. The light from the book grew brighter, cutting through the gloom like a blade. "Ava, now!" Xander shouted, his voice strained as he fought off another tendril. She reached the edge of the mass, her hands trembling as she held the tome aloft. The shadows recoiled from its light, but the darkness surged forward, its tendrils coiling around her legs and pulling her down. She cried out, the tome slipping from her grasp as the whispers grew deafening. Then she heard him. Seth's voice, calm and steady, cut through the chaos. "You're stronger than this, Ava. Trust the light. Trust yourself." Her vision cleared, the fear melting away as a fierce determination took its place. She grabbed the tome, its light surging with renewed strength. The glyphs burned brighter than ever, their patterns locking into place as she chanted the final words of the incantation. The light erupted from the tome, consuming the darkness in a wave of silver brilliance. The tendrils disintegrated, the whispers fading into silence. The writhing mass at the center of the clearing let out a final, piercing scream before collapsing into nothingness. When the light faded, the clearing was silent. The corruption was gone, the air clear and still. Ava fell to her knees, the tome slipping from her hands. Xander was at her side in an instant, his arm steadying her. "It's over," he said, his voice filled with relief.
Ava shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "No, it's just beginning. There will always be shadows, but for now, we've bought the realm a little more time."
Xander nodded, his golden eyes meeting hers. "And we'll be ready for whatever comes next."
The wolves gathered around them, their howls rising into the night. It was a sound of triumph, of unity, of hope, and for the first time Ava believed they could face whatever the future held, together.